Well, that was the House budget hearing on the cost of the border crisis yesterday. Committee Republicans also revealing that cartels, the dangerous drug cartels, made more than $13 billion in human trafficking profits in 2022 alone. That's up from $500 million in profits in 2019. Congressman Chip Roy joined the program yesterday explaining how much the border crisis is costing the state of Texas alone. Watch this.
Texas has spent $13 billion through Operation Lone Star and all of the efforts to secure the border of the United States because the federal government refuses to do its job.
Politico is reporting that the Biden administration will propose new changes to the asylum system. They'll propose those changes today, allowing the U.S. to expedite the removal of migrants who are deemed to be a risk to national security or public safety. Joining me now is Georgia Congressman Earl Buddy Carter, a member of the House Budget, Energy and Commerce Committees. Congressman, it must be an election year. Joe Biden hasn't done squat about asylum seekers or the border this entire time in office, but we're 5 months away from an election.
We are, and guess what? We're footing the bill for it. As you heard, $150 billion. That's staggering. $70 billion in schools, $22 billion in health care. You know, since Joe Biden took office, there have been 7.5 million encounters at that border. That's more than the population of 37 of our states here in America.
Yeah.
This is totally out of control. And I will tell you, yeah, I represent the coast of Georgia, but even in the coast of Georgia, this is one of the top 2 issues that people are talking about in my district.
Right, and across the country. But, I mean, the point of the president talking about new policy changes that he wants to put in place today to ensure that the asylum rules for anybody who is a risk to the country, a terrorism risk to the country, will actually be expedited is to me, it speaks to the fact that for 3 years we've had this wide open border, and we've had how many hundreds of people apprehended that have already been on the terrorist watch list. So what is he doing now, 5 months before an election, when we've already seen in just, fiscal 24, the first 3 months of the year, 17 people on the terrorist watch list, 2023, 80 people, 67 people in 2022, and 103 in 2021. If they're a terrorist, they're already in the country.
Oh, absolutely. And it would be naive of us to think that there aren't people coming across that border with the intention of hurting us and hurting our country. And that's what we've got to guard against. And yes, now we have a president who is playing politics. He's playing politics with asylum. He's trying to appease the far left. He's trying to appease his base and bringing this up. And here we are, and he's endangering our country while he's doing this. Well, and that's irresponsible.
Well, Jonathan Fahey, I just find it just incredible that now he's talking about ensuring that there's some boundaries around people who could be a risk to national security now.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing that now we're talking about it, now he's pretending to care. But it's so good that Congress had this hearing, because I think the thing that gets lost, we do talk about the national security, the fentanyl, and these things are extraordinarily important, but these costs are enormous. And I think what doesn't even get factored into these costs is there is a lack of access to health care, and you can't just create new doctors with money. Yeah. Or if your kids are in an overcrowded school, you don't get that back 10 years later when the money's been spent. So these costs are really undercounted, and Eric Adams is dealing with it here in New York, and he's sort of brought it unwittingly to the attention of the American public. But it is so good that Congress is dealing with that. But I do think it needs to be focused on not just the national security, but the overall cost that we are going to bear because of Biden's policy, and we all know it's intentional.
Yeah, and Congressman, we all scratch our heads as far as why allow this border to be wide open? Why put America in danger? And there are many people out there who say it's because they think those people will become Democrat voters. So we've got House Speaker Mike Johnson and Texas Congressman Chip Roy announcing a new election integrity bill. They're supposedly targeting illegal migrants who want to vote here. Here's the Speaker discussing the SAVE Act yesterday. Watch.
Due to the wide open border that the Biden administration has refused to close, in fact, that they engineered to open, we now have so many non-citizens in the country that if only 1 out of 100 of those voted, they would cast hundreds of thousands of votes. This is a dangerously high number. It could obviously change the outcome of our elections.
So, Congressman, we already spoke with the Attorney General of Texas. Ken Paxton was with me just about a week or so ago, and he says he has seen up close and personal what they're doing. Watch this.
So look, here's the deal. There are 47 states right now that don't stop non-citizens from voting. So in Texas, all you have to do is check a box saying you are a citizen. You do not have to prove it. We have 44 states that are open to illegals voting. If they come in with a driver's license, they're given a social security number by the administration, they can get a driver's license and register to vote.
So what do you say, Congressman?
Oh, I couldn't agree more. The SAVE Act is something that needs to be implemented. It should have been implemented years ago. No non-Americans should be voting in our election. I can't vote in other countries' elections, neither can you. Why should we allow illegals who come in this country and break the law, and we're going to trust them to check a box that says that they're not an American citizen? This is ridiculous, and that's why we need to pass the SAVE Act. We need to make sure that only Americans are voting in American elections.
All right, Congressman, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks very much. We'll be watching your work, sir.